This is Empty the Bench with Tom Albano.
Oh, we shouldn't even be compared because that's a player. That's a player. And by the way, I'm not racist because I like Zeke and I love Dak and how about them Cowboys and
Nick Morgeson.
And the reason they won the championship is because Steph Curry is the leader of that team. He had to go leave because it bruised his ego so much. And guess what? His trade value is zero because who won the championship without KD?
And Nick Federa.
They want to make sure your ass stays right on the couch every Sunday morning and glued to football.
Empty the Bench starts now.
Roger Goodell has his dick shoved so far up his own mouth, he doesn't realize what's coming out of it. Previously on Empty the Bench. They should cut his ass and get rid of him.
What?
They should cut his ass and get rid of him.
You're ridiculous.
Really?
No, I'm not.
Ridiculous.
No, I'm not.
You are ridiculous.
No, I'm not.
It is ridiculous.
3 months compared to 12 years, and the fact that he's the star of this team and all the ability that he has, and he's a star of the sport, and you think they cut him and they get nothing in return?
It's irresponsible as an athlete.
It is irresponsible. I get it, but it's also irresponsible to cut him, cut
No,
one of the
it's
best
not.
players in baseball, and get nothing for him.
No, it's
Out of
not.
your mind?
No, I'm
You're
not.
Stupid.
I
You're
am not.
stupid.
I
Yes,
am
you
not.
are.
No,
Yes,
I'm
you
not.
are.
You're
No.
out of your mind. You're out of your mind. He didn't kill anybody.
What happened?
I understand. That is a low bar to clear. I understand. It's very, and he could have killed somebody.
Multiple accidents, though? This is not a first-time
Exactly.
incident.
Well, then.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Welcome to the Empty the Bench groveling hour with our star of the show, Mr. Nick Morgeson.
All right. Welcome to episode 148 of Empty the Bench. Tom Albano here along with Nick Federa and Nick Morgeson. Gentlemen, see, we're revisiting Fernando Tatis, but it's for something that I don't think any of us would have expected. I think also, despite Nick Morgeson, despite your ranting and raving and your partying, that honestly, it's also something a little kind of disappointing. But we got a lot more than just Fernando Tatis to talk about. We have some history with the NBA. A number is being retired league-wide for the first time ever. And after Nick gets his little gloating party, he's also going to get a whooping because Kevin Durant drama back in the news. News about the Jets. Even the Knicks are popping up a little bit in the news. Uh-oh. That sound means Nick Morgeson is going to be ranting quite a bit today on his couple of favorite teams. But we are going to begin today with what's kind of the story in sports right now until the Deshaun Watson stuff can finally come down whenever it's being expedited. Because of course this isn't an expedition.
Because it's a FedEx package, essentially.
But let's begin. Fernando Tatis has been suspended 80 games, failing a drug test, testing positive for a PED. See, Nick Morgeson, I really don't think this is something worth celebrating. So
I'm not celebrating.
Celebrating the fact that he was right.
Because I called this all the way back during the lockout.
You didn't call a steroid test, but you called it for... There are some questions about his character, and I think you are right in that the last couple of days, after hearing all these excuses that come out, there are some questions about this man's character. So let's go back to the beginning. On Monday night, we are informed, the baseball community, that Fernando Tatis Jr., prior to getting ready for a minor league rehab appearance, as he was getting back from the motorcycle accidents that we were referring to, that he was being pulled because something was amiss, and Jeff Passan had a, I guess, can we call it a Passan bomb instead of a Woj bomb?
He had his own version of a Woj bomb. His own version.
his own version, that basically reporting that Fernando Tatis had tested positive for what's it, Clostebol?
So Clostebol, I don't remember the exact name. I think I said it in the ETB minute that I did yesterday. But Clostebol is the banned anabolic steroid on the MLB list that he got.
It is an anabolic steroid. And as a result, he's suspended 80 games. So his 2022 season, gentlemen, 0 at-bats, 0 hits, 0 home runs, 0 RBIs, 0 walks, 0 hit by the pitches, 0. Kind of like what I said about Le'Veon Bell a few years ago when he had his whole 0 everywhere.
Let me sum it up in one way.
Congratulations, dickweeds. I mean,
so he's suspended. Sorry, Nick, but he's suspended for the rest of this season. It's about 40 games or a little less of next season. Obviously, he can't play in this postseason. Next postseason, I don't know about. However, because the World Baseball Classic is going to be in the middle of his suspension, and the World Baseball Classic is an MLB venture, he is disqualified from representing the Dominican Republic in the World Baseball Classic. He cannot play.
So was he planning on playing in the
Yes.
ABC?
He was planning to represent the Dominican Republic, which is probably one of the strongest teams over the last decade. And it's just crazy.
And
way to make your
thrown
country
everything
proud
out the
there,
window.
Yeah, I mean, what did you say, Nick?
Way to make your country proud there, Fernando.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't blame this on anybody else except himself. But
that's absolutely what I'm doing. Because, I mean, look, there are a generation of players who grew up who came into the league in the wake of the Mitchell Report in 2003. And the wake of everything that happened, we saw that happen to Sammy Sosa and Rafael Palmeiro and Ryan Braun and Mark McGuire, Barry Bonds, Alex fucking Rodriguez. So the consequences of said actions of continuing to cheat and lying about it are well aware to a lot of players, and young players too. And I'd imagine that there's a lot of training courses and or things that you are told repeatedly in the minor leagues not to do. So something must have not taken.
Yeah, but that's not even the issue. Is one, his father is a dumbass who went on a.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
But at the same time, you need to know what you're putting in your body. And wait a minute.
These guys are already freaks about what they put into their body anyway.
Hold on. The excuse of I inadvertently, that was the word that was used in the report. Inadvertently. That's like, I said this to the guys the other day. I'm inadvertently hating LeBron James.
Right. He inadvertently took something that he wasn't supposed to for ringworm, which also, Nick Federa, you even said in our little chat, that's not how you get rid of ringworm.
That's not how you get rid of ringworm, by the way, folks.
It goes away on its own.
It can go away on its own, but you don't. You don't get it with you don't get it with a haircut.
No, let's put it this way. Let's put it this way. People are probably eating during this, so we probably shouldn't say what the way is that you actually get ringworm.
I mean, what is he part Irish setter? Because if he's a dog, what the hell is he doing getting ringworm if he's not a dog?
Well, also the other way we were talking about it was touching, let's say, a certain substance.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
A certain substance.
No shit, pun intended.
So you know what? I mean, there's innocent mistakes, and then there's, and you would think the Padres would have rushed to his defense. No.
Well, let me ask one more question. Then I'll let you go, Trump. So the Juan Soto trade. Okay. So do you really think the Juan Soto trade now was made because of this situation that they knew about?
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to get in on this because I want to talk about that, but I want to make a point that I said before. You're talking about putting stuff in your body. And honestly, I'm in very big agreement with you. I mean, UFC fighters here in the MMA world, by the way, MMA Outsiders, check it out now on the Empty the Bench Network. Had to throw that plug in.
Pluggity plug.
Basically, the UFC fighters, UFC has to follow USADA's policy. They are held responsible, even if they accidentally ingest, say, something from your GNC. If it has a banned substance,
What was the name of the
screwed.
player? I don't remember if it was with the Rays or with the Giants. Was it Alex Smith, the one who took the protein shake and then he was banned for PEDs? I think he tried to blame it on going to a GNC. That's if I remember correctly. But the problem is his excuse I inadvertently took. Or my favorite is the excuse, oh, I didn't know it was in there. I didn't know the ingredient was in there. Yeah. Okay.
Ramon Laureano.
Oh, is that who it was? Okay.
I think it's Ramon Laureano.
But Nick, do you agree with me here? The I don't know excuse is getting kind of old by now.
I mean,
Yes, I agree.
Considering how the Padres did not rush to the man's defense.
Well, wait a minute. I'll go one step further. Did you see what Manny Machado and what's the name of the star pitcher?
Joe Musgrove.
Joe Musgrove.
Was it or Clevenger also? I think all
Clevenger did too. Clevenger and Musgrove.
They all basically said you grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, which says to me that this is Go ahead.
Okay, no, I guess what you were going to say was that basically, which says something about his character and what players know him behind the scenes as.
I mean, I said this to the guys, and they were surprised when I said it. I also said it to Johnny and Hank from Game On Tuesdays at 3. More plugs. But basically, I said that Tatis is basically turning into Barry Bonds, and the reason I say that is because Barry Bonds had a really good career. He would have had a Hall of Fame career without the PEDs. But he had to take the extra step, the extra mile to make it that he was the best of all time.
Correct.
I don't know if it's exactly that. I think it's more of an Andy Pettitte situation where he took it to get back from an injury sooner.
But wait a minute.
No, I don't think so.
I'll give you one. Oh, go ahead, Tom. Go ahead.
Only because here's the thing with Tatis. He is great. And that's the thing about some of these guys, your Barry Bondses and your A-Rods. They are great. Steroids are not. Bleh. If I took steroids, I'm not suddenly going to be able to hit a 95-mile-per-hour baseball if I can't do it normal.
Thank you. That's what people don't realize. Okay, so this whole Mitchell investigation, which, by the way, was warranted because people were breaking rules and MLB was not doing anything about it. But I think in the Balco book, and I can't remember the two investigative reporters who worked at ESPN that wrote the book about Greg Anderson, Bond's trainer, and he basically was put in contempt of court because he refused to speak up on Bonds and Giambi and all those guys. But this whole thing is insane. Just because you take steroids doesn't mean you're going to hit a ball 5,000 feet.
But what I was going to say was that hearing these comments from the likes of Musgrove and Clevenger, Manny Machado, we've seen some beef between them. If you think back to last season, that infamous clip of Machado yelling and pointing for Fernando Tatis after he did something stupid, I forget. But basically, kind of coming out that it seems like Tatis is not so much of a team player. Now you talk about what?
I was just going to say it's the battle of $300 million contracts on the same roster.
Okay, speaking of that, so now we're talking about this little thing about the acquiring of Juan Soto by the Padres. Now is it because maybe they knew about it ahead of time, wanted to make a big splash? I'll counter it. I'll counter that. Do you think if they knew about Fernando Tatis, they would have acquired Juan Soto? Would they have even tried the deal at all? Because think about all the hype on Padres Twitter was just wait till Fernando Tatis gets back. Now look at this team. I know it's Juan Soto. I know that little argument about, okay, maybe they knew ahead of time, like the Arizona Cardinals, how they knew about DeAndre Hopkins, and that's why they did the Marquise Hollywood. But think about this. Think about all those high-level prospects they gave up. Your James Woods and your, Mackenzie Gore, who I think is on the fast track right now to the MLB, if not there already. But now you look at this Padres team. Be honest with me, guys. Is this Padres team beating the Dodgers in the playoffs?
Hell
As
no.
Constituted?
No. Just say no.
In a short series, yes. Long series, no.
Okay, wait. Is this Padres team beating the Atlanta Braves?
No.
Is this Padres team even beating the New York Mets?
No.
I would say it's competitive, but I don't think they would beat them.
Is this Padres? And since we went East and West, let's go full Central. Is this team beating the Brewers?
They could beat the Brewers.
Iffy.
I would say that's 50-50.
What about the Cardinals? Cardinals, I might lean no.
Never count the Cardinals out.
They're not beating the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are a better team.
So my whole point is just that this team, they say, they probably may have gotten up because, they wanted to replace Tatis, but I don't know. I really don't know if they spend all that future if it wasn't for, right now. And because consider this, he's done for all of this season and
32 games.
32 games of next season. So you do the math, that's about 20 to 25% of next season already that you're going to be behind.
Well, I'll meet you halfway in that proposition, because I do think that it turned out the Juan Soto deal turned out to be them taking pee and making Mountain Dew, because I feel like they're thinking to themselves, thank God we have Juan Soto, because that softens the blow a little bit.
Oh, you mean the fact that it seems like the Padres are so pissed that what they did is that bobblehead night they were going to do Fernando Tatis is now going to be a Juan Soto jersey night?
Yes, exactly. They are
how ironic.
They are making chicken tenders out of chicken shit.
Oh, so you're talking about McDonald's.
Exactly.
My point is, this situation is bad. And I need to talk about the other side of this story, because this blew it up even further. In the ETB minute that I did, please go listen, because I totally destroyed Fernando Tatis, the father, who wasn't a bad player in his own right. He actually was a decent player. I mean, he played, 14 seasons on a bunch of teams?
No, he's a great player. He's a great player.
But when you go on Dominican radio stations, and you're saying, no one's going to watch the sport anymore because my son is the young star and no one's going to watch.
Yeah, because we don't have any other stars in MLB besides Fernando Tatis. Oh, and Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge and let's see, Max Scherzer,
Mookie Betts,
Freddie Freeman,
Bryce Harper when he's healthy.
Mike Trout. Can I go on?
I mean, let's put it this way. His father is acting so delusional right now. Now, I get it, because he's defending his own son, and I understand it, and there's $340 million on the table.
But when your child is wrong, maybe it sounds rich coming from me not having a kid, but when your child is wrong, you tell them that they're wrong.
Well, I said this in the minute. I said sometimes parents don't know how to teach their kids responsibilities, and they should just shut up. Fernando Tatis, the father, Fernando Tatis Jr. needs to shut up.
I agree.
I think it's more of, I'm protecting my son.
There's no protection, Nick. There's no protection.
I'm not really, inclined to jump on the guy, because he's doing what a father does.
Yeah, but Nick,
protect your son.
No, I'm gonna jump on him. It's idiotic. Now, it's absolutely idiotic. Again, when your child screws up, because let's face it, guys. Yeah, at the age of what? He's only 23. 23,
yeah. And the money hasn't kicked in yet for the new contract. Remember that.
True, but the thing is, he's already screwed up the rest of his career. No, because you go back to A-Rod's comments as of late, where he's talking about, these kids are not learning. Say all you want about A-Rod, but the fact that he's not learning from my mistakes, because look, A-Rod kind of cost himself the Hall of Fame. Now,
yeah, but wait a minute, that's a pot calling the kettle black, though.
Time out. Because now we can have this debate all we want about the Hall of Fame. The fact that David Ortiz is somehow in the Hall of Fame, despite the fact there's no A-Rod or Bonds or Clemens. We can have that debate till the cows come home. But my point is the fact that Fernando Tatis Jr. tested positive PEDs and has had this kind of disastrous year. He at the age of 23, he's already determined that he's not going to be in the Hall of Fame ever. He has
basically
his own career.
At least A-Rod was 27 when he started taking. He was already. He was already. A certified superstar with the Texas Rangers.
One second,
Nick Morrison. I'm sorry. No, because I wanted to say what Nick Vidal. I think what Nick Vidal is trying to say is that it's sad, because now we're going to see this talented, nearly once in a generation player playing, and for what? It's going to be for nothing.
I don't know.
You could still win a ring, and people won't take it. People can't take that away from you.
By the way, I don't know if I would technically consider him a one-generation talent as of yet. He hasn't played enough to be a one-generation talent.
No, my point is he's a great talent.
He's still got a high ceiling. That's what Tom is saying.
But the one different...
in other words, what I'm saying, Nick, is he's kind of destroyed his ceiling a little bit.
Yes, and the one difference, Nick, I wanted to make was when A-Rod was 27 or younger, the rules were not there for PEDs as they are now. So, and the other argument, because I just remembered now, when you brought up Andy Pettit, HGH was not illegal when he was in the league. So he could have used... so people are getting on him for taking HGH. Hello, everybody. If you're a baseball historian and you understand the game, HGH was not illegal when he was in the league.
And again, we can go back to Mitchell Report. We can go back to MLB turning a blind eye in the late 90s as all these guys were doing.
I'll give you another name. And this was in the other book we read in that class, the Radomski book, the clubhouse attendant for the Mets.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Does the name Jason Grimsley sound familiar to you?
Yes, it does.
Remember, he was the one supplying everything. Do you remember?
Right. Well, we also we didn't touch on, through this whole conversation, we didn't touch Mark McGuire, Rafael Palmeiro, Jose Canseco.
And technically at the time, some of the steroids they were using were technically not illegal. Technically. Right. So
now let's go to the other part of this Juan Soto thing, because now they trade for Juan Soto. Juan Soto has 2 more years of control after this, and it seems like, in terms of Fernando Tatis, Juan Soto has a lot of leverage. So now going back to the intro, we were talking about, Fernando Tatis' contract should be void. And obviously your argument has a very strong point here. I just think the only thing is, like, you're right. I would at least, if I'm the Padres, I would at least not want to pay him at all for this season.
Well, you're not going to, because he didn't play. Yeah,
right.
The insurance will.
Of next. I want the insurance in. And here's the only problem about voiding and cutting and all that. Like I said in your argument in the intro, I think there is a team, if you threw him on the trade block, that would be very desperate enough.
Teams would be stepping all over themselves to get to him.
Oh no, you have an idea.
Well, I told Tom before we started recording that if he were to get voided, there was a team that you probably would not think. And
I wouldn't say void though. Would you say this team that's on your mind if the Padres put them on the block?
They would have to get a lot of prospects and a lot of return, like you said, in a deal. A deal is different than a void. Okay. So if they're going to deal him, they better get $2 on that $1.
In other words, if they're going to deal them, everything that they traded for Soto, they basically have to earn back now.
Yes, that one I'll agree with you on. If they're going to try and trade him, then go ahead, trade him. But he's screwed up 3 times. Again, I know I keep going back to my minute,
Nick, but I think there is a team that, go back to what I said in the intro, I think there's a team that is desperate enough that will give up a lot to get. Okay, what's your idea?
Well, this is going to fall into the category of Aaron Rodgers to the Browns, or what was it, Colin Kaepernick to the Browns also,
or the Cowboys, I'd say.
So, and you're going to think this is nuts, but the Mets.
No.
The Mets.
No, that was one of the teams I was saying. Yeah, for whatever reason, I could see it. I could see it.
Because
I'm not drinking as of right now, but if that happens, I may actually have to start drinking heavily.
Well, listen to me. Drunk owner with money, willing to take on whatever money he can to get a star. He did it with Lindor.
No, it's plausible. That's why it's depressing.
You thought I was gonna. Where did you think I was gonna go with that?
No, I said that's one of the teams that I was thinking you were gonna say. I said, yeah.
I figured it was either gonna be the Yankees or the Boston Red Sox.
No, first of all, I wouldn't want him in a Yankee uniform. He's again, it's gonna be another A-Rod all over again if you go down that road.
I mean, can he hit? And the way they're hitting lately, I mean, I can definitely use him.
Nick, so you're gonna take a wrong and try to make it a right?
Considering the guys who have been, through these halls and have been injecting things into them.
Okay, but wait a minute. That's my point, Nick. The Yankees have a reputation of players who've taken PEDs. Do you want another one with that reputation?
Number one, no. But this actually, why don't you bring Nick Federa? So this actually brings me to the other thing. So Soto has 2 years of control. 2 years of control of Soto. The Padres have, right, after this. So now this looks like great leverage. Hey, now I'm the face here, not Tatis. So now you gotta pay me a hell of a lot. You talked about, Nick, that okay, maybe when he rejected that offer from the Nationals, because maybe he wants to be the first $500 million
It's going to be.
player, and he's going. But here's the thing: unless they give me that, if I'm Juan Soto, unless they give me that, like if they gave me 450,
Oh, he's strutting right out the door.
yeah, I'm telling them no.
Well, I said
Because-
this.
No,
I
'cause
said
it
this
goes-
to you. Oh, good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, because it goes back to what I was when I was asking you guys about the Braves and the Mets and the Dodgers, maybe even the American, like teams like the Astros and Yankees in the American. It goes back to what I was saying when he rejected that deal and was placed on the block in the first place. Juan Soto is different from some of today's guys because we talk about how really today's guys are all mostly about the money. And I said, what did I say? He doesn't want to be another Mike Trout. He doesn't want to be another Bryce Harper. Aaron Judge, I mean, we'll see what happens in free agency.
But wait a minute. I just want to clarify one thing. In baseball, excuse me, it's different. Money is different. It's not like the NBA where you need to be somewhere to win with a couple of players. In MLB, you take the money. It's a much different sport.
But here's the thing. I think Juan Soto still has some of that old school mentality of I will take a little less if it means I'm going to a contender. I'm going to a championship team.
Do I have to say it again who his agent is?
I know Scott Boras, but listen, Juan Soto, if you remember, guys, when he first came up, he was a call-up in 2019, and he went on to have the playoffs of his life, won the World Series with the Nationals. I think he wants that taste again.
Yeah, but he won the World Series.
But he won one. I don't think he's settling for one. He wants more.
I understand that, but technically he did.
And I think he honestly needs to have a look at this Padres team and propose those questions that I asked and said, if this team really is, not that committed to winning, then maybe I'll just let him have my 2 years of control. I'll go strutting out the door after 2024. I'll be a free agent. Because again, even if he waits that long and he ends up blowing the opportunity for a $500 million, he's still going to get paid. It's a matter, everyone is going to offer up paydays for him.
He could sign a 4-year deal and then go sign another long-term deal.
Exactly.
I mean, here's the thing. He has all the leverage in the world right now with the way this situation is going.
This situation, the way he's playing, the world is, and his agent, Boris, the world is his oyster. The world he's got the baseball world at his fingertips.
I'm telling you right now, the Yankees better be scared because the way their situation is with Aaron Judge and the way that he's hitting, he's the only one who's hitting right now on that Yankee team. And imagine if Boris is going to use that against them if they try to get Soto, if they know Judge is walking out the door. You know that.
You're talking to the wrong person because I'm the one who thinks they're crazy enough to back 2 Brinks trucks full of money in front of both of their houses.
There's no way.
Yeah,
that's why I said I'm the only one who's crazy enough to think that.
Well, let me give you a look into that crystal ball. So if Aaron Judge wants 350, let's say 350, and think about that, you're going to put $850 million in the outfield.
Now listen,
afford it.
Listen, guys. So I'm kind of on your side, like Nick Morganson, about concern about the long-term contract. I mean, Cole's contract's a little, but
Stanton.
But Nick, if you are to do that, and Nick, for that, listen, if you are to do that, then that means you have to commit to Cashman and Steinbrenner have to commit to one of 2 ideas. Number one, if you let Judge walk. Number one, Baby Bombers 3.0. Pedraza, Volpe, you bring them up, and it's like 16, 17. Maybe we're down a little bit, but we get these guys ready. Or number 2, and Nick Federa, maybe this will entice you. You do it. You take some of these rookies, all these guys, these baby bombers. You make that trade for Soto, or you make that trade for Ohtani. That if you let Judge walk, those are your options.
Well, yes.
Either are viable if that happens.
Well, I've already said it.
One is considered to me the nuclear option, which is you prevent by not letting the man fucking walk out the door.
Well,
but that's just me.
I've already put it on.
Which one
Go
did you
ahead.
say was nuclear? Which one did you say was nuclear, Nick? Baby Bombers 3.0 or Soto or
Both
Atomic?
of them are technically the nuclear option because option A should be sign Aaron Judge.
Okay, but Nick,
Both
and
are your break glass in case of emergency.
Nick, I've been on the record multiple times. They're not going to be able to afford him. According to what the Yankee standard is right now, they're not going to be able to afford him.
Then they're stupid.
Well, but let me ask you a question. Do you think if they don't have to Judge, it would be hypocritical if they went after Soto and paid him more?
He's younger.
No, I was going to say, because he's younger.
No, I understand. But if you weren't willing to pay Judge $350 million, but you paid Soto $450-500 million, don't you think that's a little hypocritical?
Like I said, I'm the wrong one to ask because if I was running the Yankees, they'd have them both.
I know what you're saying, Nick. But I'm saying, here's my thing. If you sorry to drag out everybody on the Yankees stuff, but if you let Judge walk, then you know what, and you continue this collapse and you let Judge walk, you know what also happens this offseason? Hicks gets traded. Donaldson gets traded.
Hicks is a joke.
Gets traded. But that's my point. That's why I'm saying, if you let Judge walk and you continue this collapse, maybe you have to go to the Baby Bombers 3.0 option.
By the way, every home run that he hits, and like you said, I know we're talking a little.
Yeah, I know. It's more and more leverage for Judge.
He's gonna hit. He might break the record at this rate.
I think he might.
So, and if he breaks the record, you have no leverage. The Yankees have no leverage. They don't.
PAYTHEMAN. What does it spell?
All I'm thinking now is Big Papi at the All-Star game when he's in the dugout. Pay the man, pay the man.
And he had the what's it called thing that the money was spraying out of.
Pretending to make it rain.
Yes. All I can say is this Tatis situation is going to cause a domino effect across a bunch of teams. That's what it's done.
Exactly. Give me a P. Give me an A. Give me a Y. Exactly.
All right. Where are we here?
All right. Let's go to the NBA. So, guys, we have history. So, we talked about a couple weeks ago the passing of the legendary Bill Russell. The NBA has made a decision that for the first time ever, a number will be retired league-wide, and it will be Bill Russell's number 6. Now, current players like LeBron's wearing number 6 in LA.
And Porzingis.
And Porzingis in Dallas. They will be grandfathered in. Kind of like in MLB with the number 42 when it got retired from Jackie Robinson.
Rivera, yeah.
Rivera got to wear it. Mo Vaughn still got to wear it. Anyone who wore the number is grandfathered in. So with the exceptions of everybody in the NBA currently wearing number 6, nobody else will be able to wear number 6 ever again.
And good on the NBA. Respect to the NBA. 11 championships. First black head coach or coach.
Black superstar.
21-0 in elimination games.
Which is insane. That's like unheard of today. I mean, this guy is a legend. This guy won 11 out of 12.
And was such an advocate off the court as well.
Right. I mean, he presented the Larry O'Brien Trophy at the end of every NBA Finals, for crying out loud.
Think about it. Think all that he did in Boston, and yet people in his generation saw him. They didn't welcome him.
Well, we're talking about a much different era.
We're talking.
I know.
We're talking about not the microaggression. Sometimes subtle, sometimes not racism. We're talking about. Oh my God. But
we're talking about racism to the millionth degree. Like
and having to play in that environment and succeed in that environment is a Herculean effort, and Bill
also
Russell was able to do it.
And also, he won 2 national titles, also in college.
But, a legendary man, and this is a legendary achievement worthy of such a man. But I will put to you, I don't know if. See, there are very few other players that I think could be, because I think they're not only retiring because of what he did on the court, it's what he did off it.
Right, that's what Tom said.
Such a tireless advocate for social justice. The only other athlete I think that maybe could qualify to have his number retired like that has that kind of on the court, off the court kind of cachet and body of work is probably Magic Johnson.
I was just going to say the same
Magic.
thing.
By the way, NBA now, the NFL now is the only North American sports league, the Big Four, to not have a number retired across the league. MLB has Jackie Robinson, of course. NBA now has Bill Russell. The NHL has number 99 retired league-wide for Wayne Gretzky's accomplishments.
I'll give you another one. Jerry West.
Jerry West.
Jerry
I
West.
see. I can't see them doing it for somebody like Michael, because
No.
Jordan, I think stepped on too many toes.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Well, that and now you have a problem because LeBron wore number 23 quite a bit in Cleveland. So it's like, who do you really retire it for? It's the Jordan LeBron debate again.
Oh no! Don't say that.
They can both go into the Hall of Fame together.
No, don't say. Don't even spark that rumor.
On the same plaque.
My point is, Jerry West was the logo. That was who he is.
Yeah.
That's far cry from what you could say about LeBron at this point. But my point is, Jerry was the logo. Jerry was a Hall of Famer. He was the legend all time in a lot of categories. I could see that his number being retired across the league too.
So I'll end this segment by throwing the question out to you guys. So the NFL, only league now that hasn't had a number retired league-wide. If we could pick one, who should it be?
Jim Brown.
Lombardi?
Well, Lombardi didn't have a number, really.
No, but I'm just saying, I guess for the trophy's sake, I didn't know.
The trophy has the Lombardi. I kind of like where Nick's head is at, Jim Brown. I think.
Yeah, Jim Brown was a legend. And again, same issues as Bill Russell back in the day.
He's the only one I can think of. I'm sure somebody would think like Johnny Unitas or I'm sure there are people. I'm sure the people that I just can't think of them.
I say somebody might have the argument of Peyton or Brady.
Maybe Brady when he finally decides to hang it up.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well, if Brady's going to be like 90 and still playing in the league,
3/4 of the league kind of hates his guts. So I don't know if I think it would take like another couple generations before.
I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, as long as Bill Belichick is still in the organization, he's not going to allow the Patriots to retire his number.
Oh, please! They're going to keep him in the fruit cellar at Foxborough. They're gonna stuff him like a beaver.
All right, Nick Morganson, you've had your laughs. Now it's time for us to do laughing.
For you to take your cod liver oil, my son. Now it's time for the whooping.
All right, here we go. We start things off with your beloved Brooklyn Nets. So in the last 48 hours, this whole KD drama has exploded once again. So originally, guys, we were just going to talk about how in a recent article he viewed the Celtics and 76ers as his choices in terms of, where he can succeed and make money. However, earlier this week, Marc Stein did a report in which apparently an unnamed NBA executive told Mr. Stein that this executive sees KD retiring rather than playing with the Nets. And KD took to social media, because he's been a social media king as of late, and just kind of laughed it off and called it ridiculous.
Clown question, bro, but on Twitter.
Are you tweeting at KD, Morganson?
I'm trolling Twitter like KD does.
I mean, I'm sure that anonymous source was somebody named Devin Carant. You're probably sitting in the dark parking lot with a trench coat, a top hat, and a chain smoking a cigarette, saying, "Follow the trade requests. Windhorst is lying to you."
All I can say is that this is not the first time that KD's requested a trade, and part of this quote, which is not here, which we couldn't fit on here, was that he's going to cause a ruckus.
Yeah, so didn't another NBA player say for him to be traded, he should tweet out "Free Hong Kong" or something like that?
I don't remember who said it, but basically they were saying the best way to get himself out of there is to make a controversy. And go ahead.
I have one more report because Nick brought up Mr. Windhorst. Now why is that?
Why do you think he might have thrown this ruckus?
Okay, so but basically, Hurst is saying that basically there's no urgency in Joe Tsai's mind. He has no urgency to trade KD. He would rather try to convince KD to stay. So that's where we're at with this.
I'll tell you where I'm at with this.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
That's where I am at this point. I'm so tired of this. Tell Kevin Durant to sit his ass down and he's not getting traded. All right? 4 years, $198 million. Do I have to do it? Money! 4 years, $198 million. Stop asking for a trade. Stop asking to have everything your way like a 2-year-old who cries for his binky every time he doesn't get what he wants. Okay? Sit your ass down and play another year in Brooklyn. Oh, okay. I guess I'm getting the center of attention here.
Yeah, you do. You want any more? You have any more you want to let out?
KD is the biggest ego I've ever seen. I'll say it again. Over LeBron James. I know that's rare, but I'm saying it. KD is nowhere near the top 5 all time of NBA's greatest players. Okay? And until he wins a championship, leading it for an organization, he will never be a top 5 player. Ever! Ever! And by the way, with the Warriors, and I'll say this, and I said this in the intro, that was Steph Curry's team, okay? Everyone says, oh, well, he won the NBA Finals MVP. Because it was the easiest name to pick on the roster. Steph Curry didn't care if he won NBA Finals MVP. He wanted to lead the team to a title as a team. There's no I in team.
See, I don't even know if he's trying to set up a super team. Because I don't even know what the hell he wants anymore.
Well, now here's the thing about KD and the potential for a trade. Now, if he causes a ruckus, I mean, the Nets are going to be losing out on what we thought was going to be a trade of historic proportions that would involve like 10 years worth of like first round picks or something. But now, if he's going to cause a ruckus and do all this, you know, if you're the Nets, maybe you don't bother. Like kind of what you were saying, Nick Borgeson. And maybe if he elects to sit out because he wants to sit out, then like you said, fine, put him on that whatever list.
Restricted list.
The restricted list or something. Because also when Hurst and all the NBA guys are talking, yeah, we have the mention of the Celtics and 76ers here. But again, a trade for what Kevin Durant, what he wants and what the Nets want, it would have to be some ruckus 4-5-team trade just to get done.
I think Kevin Durant forgets the rules of how an NBA trade works, that you have to match up the salaries.
I was going to say that it has to be money for money, unlike all the other leagues.
It's not, and again, I'll say what I said. It's not MLB The Show where you could turn forced trades on and you can basically trade a rookie in A-ball for an all-star in Major League Baseball. It's not the same thing. Until Kevin Durant gets his large ego together, he's not going anywhere. Let him sit on the restricted list for 4 years. Now, first of all, what's the track record? Has any player ever done that before? The answer is no. Okay? So he's going to end up playing in a Brooklyn Nets uniform, whether he likes it or not. Okay? The Nets are not going to get the value they want. His value right now is 0. I'm going to stick by it. It's 0. What are you getting for him?
I honestly, I would have said a king's ransom earlier in the offseason, but you know what? I don't even know anymore.
That was earlier in the offseason.
You want to know why it was 0 then and it's 0 now? Because he can't be trusted to stay on a team long term. He can't be. After one season on every team he's on, he's looking to leave. Look what happened in OKC.
Honestly, I don't think, to be honest with you, entirely honest, I think he had a very specific idea in his head about what his Nets tenure was going to be like. He had this idea that he was just going to come up, that he was going to be ready, and Kyrie was going to be ready. The three of them are going to be ready, him and James Harden, and off you go to the races.
Well, first of all, originally James Harden wasn't part of the whole equation.
Yeah, originally he wasn't, but the pandemic screwed up because all of a sudden you realize that your number 2 is deathly afraid that the vaccine is going to make him magnetic or some shit. And I guess the coach that you brought in, you end up saying to yourself, who hired this asshole? Look in the mirror, dickhead, it's you.
Don't even get me started on Steve Nash. But my point is, excuse me, is that KD thought he was going to come in with Kyrie and he was going to laugh at the Warriors and that they were going to win. They were going to beat Steph and Clay and Draymond and all those young guys. He thought he was just going to steamroll them and laugh all the way to the championship.
And now the world is laughing at him.
Well, KD's always been the laughing stock of the league. I never thought I'd say that.
So it turns out KD is not the only person who's been in the news with the Nets. So a story kind of flew under the radar because of KD's drama, but apparently, gentlemen, now the Lakers are willing to put their 27 and 29 first on the table for Kyrie.
Somebody's angling for supporting Roland Space Jam 3.
What'd you say, Nick Federa?
Somebody's angling for a role in Space Jam 3. Are you sure you want to do this, Kyrie? Are you sure? Are you absolutely positively 100% sure? Look me in the eyes. Look me in the eyes, both of them, and tell me this is what you want.
Nick, I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to look at the Lakers and say, are you sure this is what you want?
Are you sure this is what you want?
You want this headache. You want LeBron. You know, you're trying to please LeBron and AD because they're about to leave, even though you have the championship from the pandemic season, but you also missed two of four playoffs that they were on the team.
They were miserable. Miserable.
Are you sure, Lakers, you want to give up this future to try and get one more big three for LeBron?
And by the way, you're bailing the Nets out. That's what you're doing here. You're bailing the Nets out.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I'd ask LeBron that question too. I mean, do you really think he can do it? I mean, I'm sure he'd fit right in with the California's subculture of crunchy granola anti-vax weirdos. But yeah, he'll fit right in with the I don't need a doctor. All I need is this snail paste to heal me. He'll fit in right as rain with that crowd.
Well,
but in terms of basketball, I have my doubts.
Well, I'll give you one more. LeBron is used to living in the past, and that's the reputation he's gotten, that he likes to play with older players. So I would say Kyrie's old, but I would say that he wants to relive the past when he was in Cleveland.
Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, I will say this on the record, just in case this actually does come to fruition a couple of years from now. If they ever create The Last Dance style or the Captain style documentary for LeBron James's career, this part in the documentary that we're living through right now is going to be aces. I want to see what they're saying behind closed doors because I guarantee you it ain't nice.
No, it's just going to be a bunch of Aaron Rodgers saying RELAX in every part of that.
We have the soundbite, Mr. Morgan.
I know. I was just playing around. But my point is that I hope that never happens, by the way. But ESPN is so desperate for content on their Plus platform that they already did it with Jeter. They did it with the Chicago Bulls. They'll find a way to pay LeBron like a gazillion dollars and just
they did it with Brady too, technically, with the man in the arena.
Ugh. ESPN disgusts me right now.
Oh,
by the way, subscribe to Empty the Bench Plus.
Yeah, really, if we had it.
We're not going to give you any good content, but you will get a nice looking mug in the mail.
Well, everybody's got a plus. I think Grubhub has a plus. I think Walmart just launched a plus.
Yeah, coming soon to YouTube near you. Empty the Bench minus. Take content away.
Now that would be hilarious.
So all the old shows you want to listen to, they're gone.
Get all our bad, horrible, insufferable takes on Empty the Bench minus.
I was going to say, no. All the shows you don't want to listen to, you have to.
Good point.
All right.
Also comes with a free set of clothespins to keep your eyes open.
Orange Clockwork style. There is a little bit of Knicks news, by the way. Not too much, just a little note. Apparently, the Knicks and Jazz, the talks are back. Donovan Mitchell talks are back on.
All right, I'm going to do this now.
RELAX.
Relax. It's nowhere to be in the official stages by
So
any
you're
means.
telling me not to be excited or not to panic? Because
Don't be excited. Don't be excited yet.
Both. Well, we don't know what the requests are. We don't know if RJ Barrett's going to be involved, but also they are not the only team that are in these talks. Supposedly, I believe the Athletic reported that the Wizards and Hornets are also both in discussions with the Jazz over Donovan Mitchell.
What?
Yes.
What?
So, Nick, do we want to do that little bet? Remember when I made that bet with you about, that basically you have to go climb Mount Everest if KD goes to Charlotte? Should we run that also with Donovan Mitchell?
No, because I could actually see that happening more than KD.
No, if they trade for Donovan Mitchell, you have to climb Everest and you have to yodel at the top of it when you get there.
You mean like the
Like
Price is Right bit?
No, like a Ricola commercial.
Well, if KD or Donovan Mitchell go to Charlotte, then I think that very next show we open with the Price is Right Yodeling Man song.
It's fine with me. There is a better chance. Hey, we can use that as a sponsor, by the way. My point is, Donovan Mitchell there's a better chance of Donovan Mitchell going to Charlotte than KD going to Charlotte. I'll tell you that now. But the Knicks and the Jazz re-engaging in Donovan Mitchell talks means this: 0. I mean,
that's why I said it's just a footnote. It's an interesting footnote, but it's just a footnote ultimately.
Right.
The Knicks potentially bringing in a star player, actually bringing him in there and then falling on their faces in the playoffs? Where have I heard that song before?
Yep.
Carmelo Anthony.
I think I may have danced to that tune a couple times in my adult life.
Wait a minute.
And then just fell flat in my face right into a birthday cake.
I'll give it to you. Carmelo Anthony and J.R. Smith.
Please, you're listing my broken dreams. You could even go back to when I was in high school or middle school, and they had Stephon Marbury. They were world leaders then, and what happened? Shit happened. That's what happened.
Shit definitely did happen.
I was going to say, you know what happened?
Precisely, you had to flush twice to get rid of it.
I don't know. All I can say is, anytime there's trade talks or free agency talks with the Knicks, well, let me take that back. They got Jalen Brunson, but that's not a star by any means. Well, they have tempering issues to deal with instead.
That is a good piece, and it's just another piece for them to piss away.
It's a good point.
All right. So we're gonna close out with some NFL talk. Obviously, the lead is Deshaun Watson. So hopefully before this show airs, no appeal further announcement has been made, because as of Tuesday night, 9:30 Eastern time, that whole appeal that's supposed to be expedited. Yeah, well, it's been 2 weeks?
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
And we're not talking about the social media platform.
No.
God forbid it's not a heart transplant trying to make its way across country.
And no, we're not talking about the Kesha song either.
I mean, at a certain point, it's like, oh yeah, you're sorry. Not sorry enough to just take the.
All right, I'm going to expedite this process for the NFL. Just Roger Goodell and Peter C. Harvey, just listen right now, because I'm going to make it easy, and you don't even have to pay us for it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So here's what you have to do: just announce the year's suspension that you want to give, or the indefinite suspension, and let's all move on with our lives. Oh wait, the NFLPA's got to sue first. That's right.
Well, no, that's the thing. Announce the year-long suspension and the fine. Take your lawsuit up the butt like a professional league. And besides, you win in federal court a lot anyway, so
this is going to end so bad.
I know.
I mean, I'm just going to do it.
Congratulations, dickweeds.
Because that's all this is going to be.
All right, so the AP, the Associated Press, reported towards the end of last week, I think it was stretching into last weekend, that Deshaun Watson all of a sudden is now willing. He said, I will sit out 8 games and they can take $5 million from me. That he basically made a settlement offer. Which is funny because Dolph Kleeman reported around that same time that right before Sue L. Robinson made her decision, or it seems at this rate, her suggestion, is that remember all that delay, like the time to settle. Apparently, the NFL wanted to give 12 games, $8 million.
This is going to end in a lawsuit to hell. Let's just say it now.
It's either going to end in a lawsuit to hell, or this is going to end in a 10-game suspension and like a $6 or $7 million fine.
The damage was already done because he's already played a preseason game. The idea was to keep him off the field, which the NFL failed at.
Which is why I'm surprised it didn't happen last week. That Peter Harvey didn't come down with the decision last week because he got to start in a preseason game.
See, everybody seems to be thinking that because it's delayed, that means that one thing can happen. And we're all expecting that it's going to be upheld. But what if he goes the other way?
Wait a minute. I'll go back to the Tom discussion that he brought up last week. Are you sure you don't want to negotiate? Are you sure?
That's why everybody's taking their time.
Yes, I'm going to go back to that again because it's actually accurate because I think that's what's actually happening behind closed doors. They're not going to admit it because each side doesn't want to admit guilt or victory or defeat, but that's what's really happening.
And then you get these reports that basically the players are all behind Deshaun. You saw that video that Sarah Spain, somebody posted that it was basically all these little kids lining up to get Deshaun, to see Deshaun get his autograph and such.
Did you see the chant at the preseason game with the Jaguars?
Which one?
No, what are we talking about?
They were basically saying F off Deshaun, and they were screaming it. But it wasn't F off. Let's just put it that way.
Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, I find myself in a very strange predicament because I, for one, am. Look, it's easier at this point to just say, you know what? Nobody looks good in this case.
No, nobody does.
They're just victims in this case.
Well,
and people stopped caring about those women a long time ago.
I don't know if I can call the NFL a victim. I would call them stupid, not a victim.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
The women are the victim.
No, the women
are the victim.
And honestly, the fact that the players are coming out, like the Cleveland Browns players are coming out and supporting Deshaun and basically writing everything off, that tells me the players, we're talking. It's funny because I remember years ago when the players and owners were kind of colliding heads when you had the whole Trump thing against the NFL. We were always siding with the players. But now it seems like remember weeks ago where I said that no matter how long of a suspension you give Deshaun, the culture is still there and it's still a problem?
Right.
By those Cleveland players coming out and supporting Deshaun, you have basically said that the players are also part of the problem.
They made your argument for you.
Well, I'll say one thing. The players are idiots. The owners are idiots. The commissioner is an idiot. There. I said it. They're all idiots.
I mean, it's plain as day to see at this point. I mean, there's only so much that you can.
Nick, there's no jurisdiction to what the rules are.
Say you're sorry. You can say you're sorry all you like, but you never specify what you're sorry about. And sorry. If you don't do anything material to fix the problem or change the behavior or do anything to make amends, you can stuff your sorries in a sack.
In the words of Justin Bieber, is it too late now to say sorry?
Ugh. Ugh. But there's
you don't want me to tell you where to take your sack of sorries and shove it, though.
No. But my point is, like I was starting to say, there's no jurisdiction for the rules. So basically, they find every little loophole that's involved. That's why, and Tom and I did this in the live stream when the first time the news broke, Deshaun and his team think they deserve nothing. Zero.
Yeah, you're already working with a mindset with a guy who clearly thinks he did nothing wrong.
But wait a minute. There's also another part that doesn't make sense. Why did Deshaun come out and say, I'm apologizing to all the women if he did nothing wrong?
If he's saying he did nothing wrong. So what are you sorry about, Deshaun? Are you trying to tell us something?
Well, he was saying he did nothing wrong while Jimmy Haslam, the owner, is making a statement that Deshaun feels all this remorse.
No, but Deshaun came out in the press conference and said...
I know. No, my point is that he feels he did nothing wrong, but Jimmy Haslam says he's all full of remorse.
He's sorry that he did nothing. He's sorry. He did nothing wrong, but he's sorry that he did nothing wrong.
That's it. I'm going to do it again.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Apt.
Yeah, that's basically apt to sum it all up. Let's talk about your Jets now, Nick.
Are you trying to kill me slowly?
The man, the myth, the legend, the Cougar Hunter, Zach Wilson.
Stacy's mom has got it going.
I like that song. Don't ruin it for me.
So apparently, it was very feared in that first preseason game that he might have torn his ACL, but by the hair, he's fine. And apparently, according to Rich Cimini, basically, Zach Wilson's arthroscopic knee surgery was a success. There are no surprises from the original diagnosis. He's not 100%. He's not going to play week 1 or week 2, but it's only going to be 2 to 4 weeks compared to the whole season, like Mekhi Becton again.
Oh, good! I get to see Joe Flacco again. Yay!
So knowing the Jets' luck, one thing goes wrong, and like a monkey's paw, another thing has to go badly, because you can't get one without the other.
All right, I think I'm going to solo lay out Nick again because
No, you don't have to. It's okay. I can say it here. It's fine. But first, because the Jets and the NFL season has not started yet, and they're already the laughing stock of the NFL.
It's funny. It's kind of like that Mets scene from Family Guy. Hey, it's the first, or in this, it's not the first play of the. Yes, no, I'm saying, but it's not the first pitch of the season. It's the first play of the preseason. And your season's already over.
Zach Wilson from the shotgun, and the season's over.
Aw. Throw the hat. I just can't win with the Jets. I
mean, we're all under the agreement that to Jets is a verb now, right?
Pretty much.
Would you say they Jetsed anyway by having Mekhi Becton be hurt, or they just narrowly avoided jetsing with Jets?
Mekhi Becton, it's sad because that dude has all the talent in the world, but
he's overweight.
He's overweight. Stay healthy, yeah.
He's overweight, and that's probably what did it. Too much weight probably did his injuries in.
He's a lineman though. He's got to be huge.
No, but he came in overweight. And I'm going to say for the first time this year, Jets just escaped the shit, because that's what I'm going to be saying all season. I haven't really officially looked at the schedule. We'll do it in our NFL preview.
Yeah,
but I'm actually going to stick to what I want this year. I think. I know you guys got mad at me.
You want 0-17, don't you?
So you're not gonna tell us what you want?
Oh no, I already told you a couple episodes ago.
He wants 0-17.
I would rather go 0-17 than have Zach Wilson start.
He wants one of these quarterbacks that are going to be coming in this big 2023 class.
Oh yeah.
Are you sure you want that?
I do.
Are you sure you want that?
The Jets are already the laughing stock of the NFL. It's okay.
We don't have to lock in your pick right now. You can change your mind. Are you sure you want to do this?
Well,
I still
really don't have a lot of confidence in the Jets' drafting ability. Do you?
Well, I think it's better than the Giants' drafting ability.
Nick Federa. That brings me to a small snippet of the story. I didn't really look this one up too much. I got a notification. I am looking at it. I hope this report is questionable, but it comes from the Daily Snark. So apparently Dave Gettleman refused to answer. Wait, what is this? Ex-Giants GM Dave Gettleman refused to answer Broncos' phone call when they tried to trade up for number 2 in 2000.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, I see it. Nobody will ever ruin the Giants like Dave Gettleman. Reportedly didn't pick up the phone when the Broncos tried trading for the number 2 pick.
Well, what were they gonna get? Like, I'm trying to look at this. I mean, what were they gonna get is the question.
I don't know. I'm trying to look.
Well, the Broncos wanted to draft a quarterback.
I don't know. It's interesting, but I'm seeing a bunch of reports on it.
The instant you drafted Daniel Jones at 6, I mean, your draft acumen, any kind of reputation you had as a savvy drafter, basically went swirling down the toilet.
Well, the Giants are having their own little issues of QBs because the reports of Tuesday was that Saquon is going to expect to get a heavy workload again, and Tyrod Taylor was taking first team reps.
Okay,
no, Dabble says it has nothing to do with Daniel Jones, but I mean, if you're saying those two things, that tells me there's some doubt on Daniel.
BS. BS.
You're tempting fate there. So now I'm taking bets, ladies and gentlemen. I'm taking all comers. That's right. Tell me when you think how much it's going to take. When does Saquon's ankle explode?
Or when Tyrod Taylor replaces Daniel Jones as the
By
starter.
the way,
I'm
Brian-
taking prop bets, ladies and gentlemen. Bring them in.
Brian Dable is the biggest BS artist in the press conference.
Have you seen the last couple of head coaches that the Giants have had?
Wait a second.
No. Here's the
Go
thing. You're like Nick Federa said. Have you seen the last couple of
I have.
head coaches? But to Nick Morgan's credit, when these head coaches were there, we didn't have brawls every single practice.
Right. And it's BS. First of all, he got questioned that he didn't know how to answer it. Why Tyrod Taylor was taking first-team reps. He had no answer because he knows Daniel Jones is a dumpster fire.
Plus, he's probably instituting this. We're men. We don't talk about our feelings. We just punch.
And
Punch and punch and punch.
And by the way, if you look at all the other teams, do you see them splitting first-team reps with other people? No! The Giants are the only one.
Must be nice to have that freedom, but no.
I'm just saying it looks.
We're kind of stuck with the great value version of Eli Manning.
New York football is going to be in the toilet. Congratulations, everybody.
It's gonna get bad. I can tell already. It's gonna.
I think we should have, when we do our previews, we should have a contest for who's going to be the worst New York football team this year.
Okay, should I bring the extra size bottle of LIV, or should I just bring a bottle of
bring the whiskey?
Should I just bring a bottle of bourbon with me?
Actually, I'm not really a whiskey drinker. I don't even know. I'm not really much of a drinker, but the Jets are going to make me drink this year.
I bet you say that like they don't make you do it every year.
Well, I'm not much of a drinker. I've been more lately.
All right. So I want to, guys, for this next story, I kind of want to show you an image here. So let me get it up.
Oh no.
Yeah, no. I want to share this tab here. I want you guys to feast your eyes. Well, you've probably feasted your eyes on it before, but I kind of want to get your reactions on camera to this. If my screen can pop up, this.
Oh no. No. Oh no.
Before a preseason game.
I know Soldier Field has kind of had a reputation as being a dump, but that's like Oakland Coliseum kind of dump.
No, this is bad. Like that's worse than Oakland Coliseum in my opinion. Like they're not even keeping up the quality of the field.
And the NFLPA has just ripped them to shreds, ripped the Bears to shreds.
Well, J.C. Treader, who's the head of the NFLPA, I think he's on the Browns, if I'm not mistaken, which is kind of ironic, actually.
Thank God they don't use artificial turf. They kill somebody out there.
Well, the rumors are they're talking about going to another location in Chicago and getting a retractable or actually a dome so that they can get the other big games like college football games and all that other stuff.
Didn't they contribute a couple $100 million to get to renovate Soldier Field recently?
Do you realize this stadium is almost 100 years old?
Yes, I realize it. But there's something to be said about. Well, I mean, it's almost 100 years old, so you can definitely renovate it. I don't know if
the stadium is beyond renovation. I mean, look at it.
It's different with something like Giant Stadium because that only been around since the 70s.
But that was a new stadium.
It was a new stadium, which goes to show. But with stadiums that are actually history, I mean,
wait a minute.
I can't see the Cubs tearing down Wrigley Field.
Wait a minute. Time out. Are you saying because of the location in New York, that's why you would renovate, and in other places you wouldn't?
No, I'm saying I would renovate Soldier Field.
But Soldier Field, but that looks awful. They're not even taking care of it.
Because that's an easy fix.
Also, the owners don't care.
You not have to build a new stadium.
Look at the team. They're not even spending money to fix the team.
Right. Well, the owners want a new stadium.
Yeah. Well, if I were the NFL and I was Roger Goodell, I'd say stop doing it on purpose.
Well, what's it called? But you're not gonna see. The thing is, we see the Raiders kind of have done that with Vegas. And we saw the Chargers and stuff, and they wanted LA. But my point is, I don't know how far the NFL would go allowing this when it comes to Chicago, because you can't have a team leave Chicago. They're going to go to another place in Chicago because you can't have a team leave a major market like Chicago.
Well,
And the minute they do, you're going to see a team like the Colts swoop right in.
Well, there's still going to be Chicago. It's just going to be a different location.
Right.
So,
no, I'm saying. Never mind. Go ahead.
Look at the Browns. The Browns are doing that.
That's true.
So there's no win here. I mean, and J.C. Treader can scream until he's blue in the face, pun intended. But my point is, they're never going to get it fixed.
No. They should, but they won't.
They should, but the owners are.
You know what's ironic? Being in the owners club, they're the cheapest people I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
And these are people that can afford to never have to be cheap a day in their lives.
All right. So a couple of more stories you got to get to. So Lamar Jackson discussing a contract extension with the Ravens, who he's a little unhappy with if you followed them in the last few months. But Lamar's doing it by himself. He has no agent, no representation.
Let's go back to NFL draft night. If you remember when that tweet came out that he put out, which was completely inappropriate, in my opinion, where he completely
although you can't blame him for being blindsided.
Right. Like it was completely inappropriate the way he was acting in that tweet. Like he shouldn't be destroying the team that's going to be paying him. Personally, I wouldn't give him an extension.
I mean, who do the Ravens, how can they compete without him?
Well,
he's your guy.
But here's the problem. You're asking, how are they going to compete without him? Who does he have around him? He has
nobody.
Rashad Bateman. He has Rashad Bateman because you traded away Hollywood Brown. Running backs, J.K. Dobbins. I mean, Gus Edwards is probably not ready for week 1. J.K. Dobbins might be.
Wasn't he hurt last year?
Yeah, he was hurt last year. Last year was the running back debacle for the Ravens.
Last year was a wash. Last year was a wash for the Ravens.
So if I'm Lamar and they're doing stuff like this, that tells me that they're not committed to winning. So unless they're going to give you the payday of all paydays, why would I stick around?
I'll tell you right now that Lamar Jackson is not worth an extension. Sorry, he's not. He can't throw the football.
I think he can throw, and he can definitely run. And Nick actually furthers my point. There is going to be a team out there, again, that is going to be desperate and will give him a nice payday.
You think so?
I think so.
If the Giants could swing a trade for him, I would give up all of my molars to get that.
Nick, no, because no, with the fact that there's no extension for him, and Daniel, it seems like might be on his way out. I think the Giants' focus right now: play the season out, get your quarterback of the future in this next draft.
Let me ask you a question, Nick. Lamar Jackson is probably the most injury risk because. What would you say, 70 or 80% of the time he's running the football?
He's playing better quarterback.
He is playing great
right now.
I'm not blaming. He is playing great. I would like him, but I think that's not what the Giants need right now. What you need is future focus.
I just think Lamar is not the right guy for that system.
When is the future going to get here, though? We've been talking about the future for 3 to 4 years now. Get the fuck here already.
New York football has been looking for the future, Nick. It's not just the Giants. The Jets have been a mess, too.
I'm sick and tired of kicking the can down the road.
I understand, Nick. I understand. I'm frustrated, too, but...
Lamar's not the answer.
No, it's not that. It's another new regime. Unfortunately, it's another new regime, which means another restart.
That's because the Maras can't actually find a front office.
Unless the Maras sell the team, which is probably never going to happen.
You're talking about a New York franchise, New York ownership trying to sell a franchise. Good luck.
Why can't what? If Derek Jeter's listening right now, you want to branch out into football, dude? Buy the Giants.
He'll never do it.
No. He doesn't have the money. He partnered up with somebody because he didn't have the money.
You have to have a percentage.
If he didn't have the money for a baseball team, what do you makes you think he's going to have the money for a football team?
You know what? Then a bunch of ex-Giants. I want to see Justin Tuck, O.C. Umenyiora, Eli Manning, and Michael Strahan band together to buy this team like a Voltron. Save us.
Michael Strahan is the only one who could probably afford any percentage of an ownership at this point.
I'm sick and tired. I want the future to be now. You keep telling me to look into the horizon while you're punching me in the face simultaneously.
Okay, but it's not just the Giants. It's the Jets, too. New York football is a dump.
The Jets are the Jets and will continue to be the Jets until we are old, decrepit men. The Giants like to style themselves as fancy. The football player's football player. And I'll tell you something about that. It's all a myth. It's all bullshit.
Oh, it is.
It's all a facade.
Nick
fake
Federer's right.
It's
It's
on a
myth.
clown.
It's a clown show. That's all it is.
They screwed that tradition up when they benched Eli Manning for Geno Smith, who's now starting in Seattle.
God,
right.
don't mention Geno Smith than me.
Speaking of clown show, Conor McGregor, remember that retirement? It lasted 4 days. And then he tweeted out, hey, when the next time I fight, it's going to be the biggest comeback in all of sports.
You know what?
Sorry, I had my fingers crossed behind my back. You
I'm
cannot
moving on.
stamp a double stamp in Lloyd.
I'm moving on. That's it. That's all I wanted to do was just play that game. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care enough.
You know what?
That's the problem. That's the problem. They don't care. Wait, Nick. They don't care. Conor McGregor and Masvidal. That's the fight I want to see.
He's retired so much that I don't care anymore.
Wait, he's the fighter that cried wolf.
Since you won't, you know what? Since you won't rant, I'll take the lion's share for this one.
Oh
no.
boy.
Deal?
Okay.
I mean, the man's a big fat floating joke. I mean, I know dick about combat sports, but it really occurs to me that this Conor McGregor guy might be a little bit of a weirdo.
You mean like a cuckoo?
I mean, I hate to make another cereal joke because of Lucky Charms, but he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So how many times can you? Why does everybody in sports media and combat present company excluded, you and Zane? Why do they keep taking serious? Why do they keep taking him seriously? Why do they keep taking everything he says at face value?
I don't, because whenever he retires, it's always because of some negotiation.
I'll tell you why they take him seriously.
Yeah, and money.
Even that big of a draw anymore, though?
Yes, he is. He still is.
Why?
Let me tell you why. The Mayweather-McGregor fight, do you know how much freaking money was involved in that fight?
But
And
it
the
was
way
a
he
sideshow.
hyped
It was a
everything.
circus attraction. It was
no, but-
Nick, that's the thing. That circus attraction. Because of that circus attraction, the way he would trash talk it, he brought that sport more popularity than Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey.
You know,
Wait a minute. And Nick, both sides in that fight walked away with $100 million plus.
Then you know what? The UFC cannot position itself as an actual sport anymore.
Oh, stop.
As something that actually has a legacy and dignity anymore. Because boxing has its sideshows, and boxing has its weird moment. But there's a legacy of boxing that goes down
Nick,
in the.
you're
pantheon of
comparing
North
a
American
sport that's hundreds of years old to a sport that's 25, maybe 30 years old.
Dana White is selling you on that. He wants you to believe that the UFC could do that, or at least I thought he did.
Let me say one thing. I think that Dana White does sometimes oversell fights and overmarkets fights.
I'm not going to disagree on that.
I don't agree with what Nick is saying comparing the sports, but what I do agree with Nick is that sometimes Dana will overpush a fight, and then when it dumps itself on its face, it looks really bad.
Also, boxing has its fair share of problems and controversies.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of the problems that boxing has are even worse than UFC. However, I would at least appreciate it if Dana just came out and said, "Fuck respectability. We're chasing the brass ring. We want the carnival."
So Nick. So here's the problem. Dana White and the UFC have this mentality of nobody is bigger than the UFC. If Conor ultimately never fights again, we can just create another Conor. I think that's a problematic mindset, though.
Of course,
Conor is.
They're realizing that they can't because he's back.
Well, he retired and unretired, but they've never technically booked him. He hasn't been booked since breaking his leg last year.
Well, I think that's just a health thing. Why, for the most part, why he hasn't been fighting. But
so you're telling me, and correct me at any point during this sentence if I'm wrong,
Right.
You're telling me he's at the point where he could go out on stage, out into the ring, out into the octagon, lower his pants, and take a dump right in the octagon, and that would still bring in $200 and $300 million and millions of viewers via pay-per-view.
It depends. Wait.
Nick,
Go ahead.
I hate it. I hate it. But yes,
It depends on the fight.
Is that what you're saying?
Nick, and I think Tom would say this too. It depends on who he's fighting.
At a certain point, I'm surprised he doesn't set up a big mirror in front of him and he fights himself.
No, but
I
Nick,
hate you, guy who looks suspiciously like me.
let me ask Tom, because
okay.
I guarantee you, if McGregor Portier happened again, it would be a huge fight. It'd be a huge fight. Huge fight. Lots of money, lots of promotion. It would be a huge fight.
I mean, I'm sorry that I feel like this is that I'm sorry that I was expecting a little bit more dignity from them. Maybe you know what? Let's just end it by saying I'm the idiot.
Well, I'll give you one more.
What?
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul, yeah. I mean, you're talking about boxing. Jake Paul is there.
They're trying to turn Jake Paul into the next guy because they're sick and tired of everybody else.
Well, the thing, Nick, about Conor is this: when he announced his retirement, we're saying we don't care because we don't believe him. And guess what? 4 days later,
he hasn't really given you a lot of reasons to trust anything he says.
But wait,
or to care about what he says.
But here's the issue. You could say this for any sport. Conor McGregor has FU money.
He doesn't
care.
He does have FU money, but also, well, we don't care until he gets a fight announced. Until he gets a fight announced, then.
And you know what the sick part is? He will make a lot of money off that fight.
Correct.
And Nick, as much as the three of us hate it, and I'm sure Tom hates it the most because he would have to cover it, including
he brings me to clips.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, you're going to have to cover it on MMA Outsiders. You're going to have to cover it on Fansided when you're writing.
Oh, I understand it's a symbiotic relationship, and it's almost a parasitic relationship, I'd say, but it's through no fault of yours or guys like you and Zane.
I'll give you one more.
You guys are doing what you got to do.
I'll quickly give you one more. There's a rumor that McGregor and Mayweather might fight again.
That Dana has come out and said not happening.
You think they're going to pass up that payday?
I wouldn't put it past him because you know what? Now that Vince McMahon has rode off into the sunset, he is the premier sideshow huckster in combat sports.
But Tom, you're telling me that if that payday was there and that offer was there, that Dana wouldn't do it?
I get what you're saying, but he hates co-promotion. He hates it.
Well, Floyd's really not fighting for anybody really right now, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it would be through he would have Showtime or somebody partnering with him. He hates co-promotion.
I know, but if it means $500 million and a lot of money to be taken in, you think he would swallow his pride for once?
He already has before, and he hated it.
Yeah, but look how much money they got out of that fight.
I know what you're saying. I know.
I'm telling you, it's like bleeding money. That's how much money that would be.
Speaking of money, let's talk about briefly this PGA LIV thing. So there was a whole big meeting about the PGA Tour, talking about the golfers who have jumped ship over to LIV. Tiger Woods took a meeting with players, and
this is bad. This is bad for golf. This is a bad situation. Not the meeting itself, because Tiger Woods is actually trying to defend the sport.
But we thought competition was going to bring something new to the sport and something interesting.
Here's the problem, though. Now, I don't know law very well. You might know it better than I do, Tom. I think that the PGA Tour made a mistake by just saying you can't compete here anymore.
Again, the PGA Tour. Again, who are you? Wait, are you saying about the certain?
Like when people jump to the LIV Tour and they wanted to play some events. I don't think the PGA Tour should have the right to say just because you're competing on other events that you can't compete here. As long as you have a PGA Tour card, it shouldn't matter.
Well, again, first of all, the Opens the PGA Tour has no say over. It's the golf outing itself.
I think all four majors have their own say, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Second of all, it depends. It depends about the contracts and everything. What were their contracts like prior to them taking their deal with LIV?
Well, First of all, PGA Tour doesn't give contracts. That's you get a PGA Tour card and you play. So I actually think the PGA Tour is technically wrong in this sense.
They would have to be wrong then.
And they filed an emergency injunction to play in the FedEx Cup playoffs, which apparently got rejected by the court. So they're not allowed to compete in the FedEx playoffs. And if I were now, I don't know where Phil Mickelson was. I guarantee you he probably was not in the FedEx Cup. But some of the guys who are higher up, they should sue because they were in the top of the list if they left.
And I look, maybe I had this thought in my head the other day, but maybe he's there to negotiate with LIV in secret.
But what are you negotiating? You don't have a contract situation. LIV has contracts with players. It's different.
They're going to throw an absurd amount of money. Again, he already turned him down once, but I'm willing to bet because they spent all this money on all these golfers. I'm thinking that they're not going to let this one go, and I'm thinking that they're going to keep throwing more and more. They're going to keep sweetening the pot.
Yeah, but here's the issue: who's running the LIV tour right now?
Why am I blanking on his name?
I'm telling you because it's someone who was a Hall of Famer in the PGA Tour.
Is it Mickelson?
No, it's Greg Norman.
Greg Norman.
Yeah, Greg Norman.
And Greg Norman, who by the way is a sellout because they offered him like $100 million.
Yeah, we've talked about the shadiness of.
But Greg Norman is not going to take shit from the PGA. He's going to fight them tooth and nail and try to get what's right.
So let me ask. Which one ends up lasting longer? The Deshaun Watson saga or this PGA versus LIV thing?
Oh, no. The PGA LIV thing is going to be a problem for years. Because they have to get a settlement. Either they have to work together or they have to agree that their schedules are not at the same time.
So does that mean we can, settle this with a 50-way battle royale at St. Andrews with shillelaghs like that scene in Anchorman?
But what I will say is, long story short, if it's going to be a battle of both, LIV is going to win. LIV is going to win because they're going to keep offering this massive amount of money to players, and they're just going to walk away. And PGA Tour and Monahan, the commissioner of the PGA, yeah, you're right, Nick. Let me. It's all going to be about the money. That's it. There's nothing else. It has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with the rules. It has to do with money.
Well, I was going to say, welcome to sports life with Saudi money involved.
And trust me, and you know what? I've been thinking about it the past couple of weeks. Like, I agree with you, Nick, that it's tainted money in some aspects, but you can't stop competitive business. You can't.
That's the capitalistic society that we live in, but we can at least ask questions about.
I'll throw one out there at you. If we had two offers from a podcast network that we could get all our podcasts on one network, and one of them was a little bit like the LIV situation, and one was like the other, but the little bit of shadiest was like 5 or 6 times the amount of money. You're telling me you're not going to look at it?
Like a Barstool came a calling?
First of all, I wouldn't consider Barstool a shady business.
He means like a Saudi back money like LIV is.
First of all, I would kill if we could get our network on Barstool. We would be huge if we were on Barstool.
I would probably be complaining about it.
All right.
I probably wouldn't. I probably.
Let me throw it to you this way: would you take a Saudi situation or would you take a Barstool situation? Now I'm throwing you in a pickle. It's obvious to me, but
I mean, I'd probably end up taking the Barstool deal with certain ironclad exceptions. Otherwise, I'm not going anywhere.
Well, obviously, everything in business has to be negotiated.
Well,
but
Nick Morgan, so you're saying in that kind of situation, if the LIV style Saudi backed, money podcast network that was 5 times, you'd still take the other one.
Because Barstool's huge. That's why I would.
Okay.
In the long run, you're going to make more out of Barstool than a Saudi situation.
Okay. But I was trying to bring it back to the original question about a normal network versus Saudi back 5-6 times more. Which would you go there?
So, it helps that I know the business better in this aspect. But if we don't know what the LIV Tour is, it's not technically run. The only professional is Greg Norman, and I think he's the CEO technically of the LIV Tour. But it's all being run by guys who have in suits who have money. They don't have any golf experience. They might have business experience. Otherwise, they wouldn't be billionaires. But you're obviously more people are going to stay with the PGA Tour, the traditionalists, but the ones who want the money are going to go to the LIV Tour. It's all whether you want the money now or you want the money over the long term.
All right.
Pretty
That's
much.
going to do it for That's going to do it for this edition of Empty the Bench. Make sure you follow us across social media at ETV Sports, and make sure to follow the network at ETV Network. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, ring that bell to get all the notifications for Empty the Bench, Beyond the Bench, Game On, MMA Outsiders, Fruity Cereal, Living
And more.
Life, and more.
And by the way, if you're looking for the channel, youtube.com/ETB Network as well. So if you're looking where to subscribe, this is where you go. So.
All right. And make sure to follow us on our own social medias. You see them scrolling across the bottom of your screen in the ticker. But that is going to do it for us.
Yep.
I thought you were going to say something for a second.
No, I'm all good here.
Okay. So for Nick Morganson, Nick Videra, I'm Tom Albano. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.